Ms. Lewis, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes, I can hear you now, Judge. I was just I'm just doing double duty right now. So
no problem.
I'll be hosting and doing the
Okay.
paperwork.
Reset date's July 28th. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm still letting people in the room.
Okay, no problem. Let's get everyone on board and then we can begin. We finished quite late at courtroom 2, so I don't know if they have everyone ready. And I don't know if we have anyone at the South Annex or any other location.
Nobody has logged in from any other locations at this time, Judge.
Okay.
I'm watching, but I don't see nobody.
All right.
Judge, my understanding is that the South Annex
South
has
Annex.
late court, but there are two people there. I have two people there.
Okay. Which cases do you have, Ms. McLeod?
I have Miss Lynch and also Mr. Quisha Smith.
Miss
Miss McLeod, you don't have position 5 either, Mr. Jonathan Hardy?
Yes, and Mr. Jonathan Hardy as well. I was just referring to the South Annex ones.
Okay. We can.
For position number 10 on our counter, I know you represent him on his companion case. That's printed on the counter below. He has a companion case, 22CR004303J. And I know that you are the conflict attorney on that case. I don't know why you're not on this one, but I was just making you aware of it.
So he's got an open companion case and he's also got a new case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Who is that, my client?
No, that is, I've got one of the PD's cases, Renardo Stevens, position 10.
That will be my case, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kim. All right. And Ms. Kim, what other cases are you representing?
Winfrey and road number 3, position number 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay.
That's Cintron. Alexandra Cintron?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Gant, do you have the remainder? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on mute, Ms. Gant. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, positions 1, 2, Hudgens, and Payne.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to begin. Courtroom 2 is present, and good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing what we call a state expedited accusation calendar. This is with the Fulton County State Court. These are criminal misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked at the jail, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already formally accused the individual with one or more misdemeanor charges. Based on this formal accusation, this would be your initial appearance with the State Court of Fulton County. We will be addressing the case, your case number, the charges brought against you, who is going to be representing you as appointed counsel, unless you have a private attorney retained. We will also address the issue of your bond and your next court date, if relevant. For most of you, your next court date will be July 28th at 9 a.m. in courtroom G33, but most of our cases are addressed virtually through Zoom. If you have been charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and we have 3 attorneys from the Public Defender's Office and 1 from the Conflict Defense List. Okay, let's begin with courtroom 2. Who do we have in the orange shirt?
It's position number 11, Mr. Darrell Winfrey.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Darrell Donald Winfrey Jr., is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your case number is 22 CR 004526F. You've been accused of battery, domestic violence from a June 7th, 2022 incident. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. J. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
Second arrest. Last was in May for trespass. That's out of DeKalb County. It's open. That's it.
Does it say trespass or criminal trespass, domestic violence?
Criminal trespass.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, it says criminal trespass, but it is the same victim.
Same victim. Okay, can you tell me what's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, our recommendation is a $3,000 surety, no further contact with the victim, Kajaya, spelled Kajayah, Stevens. A stay away from the incident location 496 Boulevard, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. A one-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, in this case, the defendant battered the mother of his child, Miss Stevens, by striking her in the face approximately 10 times, leaving her with a swollen face. According to the police report, it started with a verbal argument that led to the defendant pulling up on Miss Stevens, I believe the parking lot of her residence, and he attacked her. He actually jumped over a fence, ran towards her, and then hit her. She fell to the ground, and then he continued to punch her several times in the face in the parking lot. He even took her phone away, and he slammed it on the concrete before hopping the fence to exit. Your Honor, this also isn't the first incident between the two. 3 days prior to this incident, Ms. Stevens had to call the police during a verbal argument because the defendant started making statements that I won't sound on the details on that, but MH issues did arise as a result of his statements. As far as the criminal trespass goes, that was out of DeKalb County, and it was the same victim. There was also a no contact order that the defendant clearly violated in this incident by pulling up on Miss Stevens and attacking her. And the criminal trespass was accused in December. So yes, it's still an open case. We do have concerns of risk of reoffending here. He clearly violated a court order to not contact Ms. Stevens. So based on that, we are recommending the surety bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Winfrey is 21 years old, and he was born and raised here in Georgia. He has 2 children. One of them is 9 months old, and complaining witness, Ms. Stevens, is actually his mother. And Mr. Winfrey also has a 4-year-old daughter. They are going to live with his parents, his father, and he has all his families here in Georgia. He also has a job at Valet Living for last whole month, and he's currently taking the last year of the GED to complete. We would like to request for signature on bond, since about that DeKalb County case is presumed to be innocent. There's no other previous conviction, and we believe that he can be qualified for signature on bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, if I may make a quick statement, there is a video recording of the
Yes.
entire incident.
I read about that too. Thank you. Bond is going to be set at $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Ms. Kajaya Stevens, to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Stevens and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including social media through a third party, or through any phone or computer device, to stay 200 yards away from the entire apartment complex at 496 Boulevard in Northeast Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Mr. Winfrey may file a legitimation action with the appropriate superior court to obtain a court order to establish visitation and custody with the child that he shares with Ms. Stevens. He cannot go over and have any third-party contact with the child until he gets a court order from a legitimation action. His next court date is going to be July 28th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, is the no alcohol, drugs, and weapons attached to that?
I thought I said that. I'm so sorry. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Can I say it? Okay.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah. Next case, please. Courtroom 2.
We have position number 5, Mr. Jonathan Hardy.
Okay. Mr. Jonathan Hardy is case number 22 CR 004519Y, accused of simple battery from July 13th, 2022. Mr. Hardy, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
His fourth arrest. Last arrest was 2018 for assault out of Ohio. Hold on. I guess it was reduced to disorderly conduct. That was a conviction. He was convicted for obstruction from 2017. Had a theft arrest from 2014. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Segura, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond with the conditions of 1-day anger wellness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. A stay for the incident location, which is 875 Cruz Street, Southwest Atlanta, and no further contact with Christopher James. Christopher common spelling, James common spelling. As your Honor knows, this was a battery case in which the defendant pushed Mr. James with his palms after some type of altercation. We have major concerns since we're not with Mr. James, as we're not able to make contact with him today. But we do notice that this location is an apartment home, so we're concerned that there's a risk of offense towards this particular individual, Mr. James. And alongside, we also believe there's not long enough cooling off period, as by the warrant shows, this happened about yesterday and today at between 10 p.m. and 1:20 a.m. this morning. Now, and alongside, we also have concerns him being a flight risk, as it does show he does have history out of Ohio, the most recent being in 2018. Which, as pretrial noted, was that assault case, which was reduced to a disorderly conduct conviction. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 30 years old. He is gainfully employed. He has been living in the Metro Atlanta area for the past 4 years. He has an associate's degree in drama, he tells me. He also has an 11-year-old son. He tells me that he was attacked by Mr. James with a knife. Mr. James, they were having an argument. They were actually living together, Your Honor. They had an argument because he had some money that came up missing. And he was talking to Mr. James about it when Mr. James attacked him with a knife. And, you know, he was just defending himself. So Mr. James was, in fact, the aggressor, Your Honor. He does not wish to have any further contact with Mr. James because he is a victim here. Your Honor, his last conviction was for disorderly conduct, and that was some time ago, 5 years ago, in a different state. He has no criminal record whatsoever in the state of Georgia, Your Honor. Based on that, I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond so he can get out of jail. We are not opposed to the 1-day anger awareness.
All right. Does he occupy the Cruz Street location? Because
he was there, Your Honor, but he has no intention of going back there. Oh. And he tells me he doesn't have anything there other than the money and the charger, and he doesn't want to go back.
All right. Bond is going to be set at $1,000. It's going to be a signature bond through the pretrial services. He is to have no further contact with Christopher James and to stay away from 875 CREW Street, apartment 208 in Atlanta, Georgia. He'll attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services. Mr. Hardy, you won't have to pay your bond because you'll get a signature bond, but you will have to report to pretrial once a month. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And you're to stay 200 yards away from Christopher James and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. You'll also attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program. And is Eastwick Road your current address?
No, it's 40, 20.
Okay, so within 30 days of being released, you must come down to the clerk's office at 160 Price Street and update us with your mailing address, your current email and phone number. All right. If you don't do that, we won't be able to send the notice to the correct address. We only have the address that's on your traffic citation, on your criminal citation. All right. Thank you.
That's per
Thank
judge.
you.
Per judge, yeah.
Next, we have position number 10, Mr. Renato Stevens.
Mr. Renato Stevens, case number is 22 CR 004527J, accused of battery, domestic violence from May 24th, 2022. Mr. Stevens, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. With regards to this particular case, any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
21 total. He's on probation for terroristic threats out of Richmond County. They gave him 5 years probation back in September of last year. February 2021, simple battery family violence arrest. That was out of Richmond County. 2016 probation, 2016 ag assault dismissed, 2014 battery dismissed, and 03 robbery conviction.
All right. I'm so sorry. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, we're recommending a $6,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Ms. Cherry Jones. Stay away from incident location 1193 West Avenue Southwest, apartment 106, Atlanta, Georgia. A one-day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, in this case, on May of this year, the defendant battered his ex-girlfriend, Ms. Jones, by punching her in the face and back of the head. It left her with scratches on the back of her neck, an abrasion and cut on her left eye, bleeding on her nose, and a bloody abrasion the size of a nickel on her forehead. It started when he came over to gather his things. The defendant asked if he could move back. When she said no, he got upset, and that's when he attacked her. Your Honor, the defendant has an open battery family violence case, as heard from pretrial. It's the same victim. Judge Morrow actually gave him a $3,500 surety in that case with a no contact and a stay away. And that was just last week that he did that. And in that case, the defendant at the time was with Ms. Jones and was living with Ms. Jones for over a month. And then he punched her in the face with a pinky ring while they were lying in bed. She had a bloody face as a result of that. He then called and apologized to her right after that, and stated that he dropped her house key off. And then not long after that, I believe in the same day, he threatened her in a text stating, "I will kill you if you're pregnant. I will kill you and the baby if you are pregnant." Ms. Jones told officers that she filed a TPO thereafter. Your Honor, our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Jones, and she stated that she continues to want no contact and a stay away with him. She also stated the defendant sent an unknown male to her home demanding money. So that is very concerned. So the state is concerned for her safety. And I believe she is on Zoom if the court wishes to address her.
Before I do that, let me go through some particulars. For the case addressed by Judge Morrow last week on July 5th, Ms. McLeod was appointed counsel for Mr. Renardo Stevens. Ms. McLeod, it appears that you represented him last week at first appearance.
I did.
So would this be your client then?
I guess that argument could be made, but I didn't know he was going to appear today.
All right, so I'm going to change that to Ms. McLeod as his counsel.
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
I guess we've already gone through the state's recommendation. Let me just see one thing. 35. So Mr. Stevens has been in custody now for 11 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And he received a $3,500 surety bond on the
Yes,
battery and
ma'am.
possession of drug related. Now he's got, I guess, he's got all right. I'm not certain what happened, but we're addressing this case. Do you need to confer with him before I move on to it? Or
Yes, Your Honor, because I did not know he was here today.
all right. The
Okay.
jail's number is 404.
Yes, Your Honor.
612-2392. And
I'll do-
Francois, we will take another case while Ms. McLeod speaks to Mr. Stevens.
It's actually Officer Norris.
Oh, Officer Norris, I'm sorry. It's been a long morning.
Yeah, we switched out on you.
All right, thank you.
Next, we got position number 8, Mr. Tyree Payne.
And Your Honor, just really quick, just to address why we were handling this case separate from the case last week. The officer didn't finish doing his investigation and he finished this week, which is why he filed the warrant yesterday. So we're handling the case today.
Okay. Sounds
So
good.
is this a continuation of the same incident from the last time?
No, it's two separate incidents.
Okay.
The first case you addressed was from April 9, 2022. And the second incident's from May 24th, 2022. But the warrant was just recently issued.
I see.
Okay. All right. And I can pull up the warrant date when we get back to the case. But right now we're doing Mr. Tyree Nareem Payne, excuse me. Position number 8, is that correct? Are you Mr. Payne?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Payne's case number is 22 CR 0045228, accused of simple battery from July 14th, 2022. Mr. Payne, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors?
29 total. History out of Ohio, New Jersey, and North Carolina. I'm gonna start with North Carolina first. 2020 assault on a female that was dismissed. A 2019 drug paraphernalia conviction. 2017, same thing. 2017 trespass, second degree conviction. What else? Simple possession conviction from 2014. Assault on a female, misdemeanor larceny. Unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, those were dismissed from 2012. Resisting officer conviction, 2012. DV, violation of protective order conviction, 2010. Assault with a deadly weapon conviction from 2010. Another 2010 drug conviction. I got simple assault, violation of protective order, communicating threats, assault on a female. Those were convictions from 2009.
Do you have anything from New Jersey or North Carolina?
There was North Carolina.
Oh,
My bad. I thought I said I was going with that first. Let me find New Jersey real quick.
I was just wondering anything in the last 10 years. So would New Jersey or Ohio be?
New Jersey was 2016, possession of marijuana and theft by receiving. Ohio was 2018, theft. That's it. This is first Georgia arrest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Segura, what's the state's recommendation?
The state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond with the conditions of a one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, a stay away from the Atlanta bus station located at 232 Forsyth Street, Atlanta, and no further contact with Terry Wood. Terry spelled Terry, Wood, common spelling. Allegations are related to the facts in which the defendant, for some unknown reason, was irate when he arrived at the bus station, and in which he walked over to Mr. Wood, shoved him in chest, started a physical altercation in which he struck Mr. Wood with a closed fist. Allegations are based on these facts, and we have special concerns based on the lack of community ties. As we try to know, he has history out of 3 states, Ohio, one as recently as 2018 for theft, New Jersey back in 2016, and recently, and also North Carolina, again, one in 2020 and 2017. And also we have concerns about him being a risk, as based on this new North Carolina charges, was a conviction for assault in a female back in 2010, assault deadly weapon conviction in 2010, a simple assault, and assault against a female back in 2009. And also have a concern about Mr. Wood, as it did occur today back in 2:50 a.m. So there's not a long enough cooling off period. So because of all these factors, we want to have a surety bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tyree Payne is 38 years old. He informs me that he relocated to the Atlanta, Georgia area 2 months ago from North Carolina. He has a 14-year-old son. We are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. Mr. Payne does need to use that bus facility at some point in the future. Mr. Payne completed high school. He has 2 years of college in business management. He is currently employed at the cheese branch. He just found this job 2 weeks ago and he's due at work tomorrow. He's only working part-time, and according to my I guess the address, he is residentially challenged. Therefore, he does not have the funds to pay much, if anything, toward bond. He advised me that he does not have anyone to help him with bond. He denies the allegations. He states, in fact, Mr. Wood attacked him and he was merely defending himself. We did not hear about any recent convictions for violence. I believe the last I heard is over 10 years ago. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond for Mr. Payne. And if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then the lowest bond possible. And again, we are opposed to the stay away, but unopposed to the no contact order. Thank you.
Bond will remain the same at $1,000 surety bond. He is to stay away from the Greyhound bus station at 232 Forsyth Street. I do believe that's another location. And if he goes to any other Greyhound station, he must have a valid ticket indicating travel on the same day. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to have no further contact with Terry Woods, the alleged victim in this case. This next court date is going to be June 28th.
July?
Oh, excuse me, July 28th, sorry.
You're not gonna let me say what you want.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Payne, you received a surety bond. I will try to reach out to your family.
Nobody's gonna help me pay a bond.
Okay, we've expressed that to the judge. Please remain silent.
And you cannot return to the Greyhound station on 232 Forsyth Street. You can visit the other Greyhound station, but you must have a ticket that's valid for travel the same day. Thank you.
Is there any way?
Take the next case. You don't qualify, sir. You don't.
Come on. Deposition number 6, Mr. Sean Hudgens. Right now?
Mr. Sean Hudgens is accused of criminal trespass from July 13, 2022. Case number 22 CR 004521C. Mr. Hudgens, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
Second arrest. Last arrest was in May for trespass on Marta. He's wanted for robbery.
All right, thank you. Mr. Segura?
The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and to abide by Malta suspension, which ends on August 16, 2022. As the honor knows, this case occurred yesterday, July the 13th, at the Malta located at Dolly, Alabama Street, Southwest Atlanta, which also detained the defendant on that 5-point Malta station, in which when they final identification about him, they found out that he had a 60-day Malta suspension. And again, which ends on August the 16th, 2022. A major concern is the risk of reoffending, as the defendant does have a conviction for criminal trespass and committing certain acts on a train on this exact same Malta station back in May the 17th, 2022. In this case, he was given a $2,000 SOB due to jail. But we know that in less than 2 months, he again committed a criminal trespass with the same station. And alongside, we're also concerned about him committing an act of crime while out on bond, as is wanted for robbery from 7 days ago, July 7, 2022, for robbery by the Malta police. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And was that through the jail? Was it issued through the jail? So personnel, yeah, it's through the jail. Okay. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sean Hudgens is 19 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has family here, but he does not have anyone to help him pay anything toward bond. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the MARTA condition to abide by any active suspensions. Mr. Hudgens completed high school. At this time, he is unemployed and in the process of applying for disability. He also is residentially challenged, and he informs me that on the day of his arrest, he was on the way to meet with a caseworker to discuss housing. I will enter a social work consult for him. These are just allegations which my client denies. He clearly doesn't have the means to pay anything toward bond. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond. If Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then the lowest bond possible. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. He's got a hold somewhere.
I see MARTA police hold.
Is that the robbery hold?
Yeah, that's the robbery. I don't know if it's DeKalb County or Fulton though.
Okay.
But it is Marta.
Your Honor, I would like to.
Mr. Hudgens, please remain silent. The judge is ruling. We don't want you to say anything that will hurt your case.
Hey, bond's going to be set at $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. And we're going to reset both his cases to July 28th. The current case ending in 4521C and the prior case ending in 22 CR 004046C. Both cases are going to be reset to the calendar on July 28th. To stay away from all MARTA stations until further order of the court. Mr. Hudgens is not permitted to use any MARTA property until further order of the court. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Am I supposed to be on for you?
Next, we have position number 3. It's Alexandra Cintron.
Alexandra Cintron Roulier.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Roulier, you have 2 cases. The first one is 22 CR 004523G, accused of criminal trespass from June 17, 2022. Your second case is 22 CR 004524G, accused of criminal trespass and obstruction of a law enforcement officer from June 21st, 2022. You do have another open case, 22 CR 003697G. All right, You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. J. Kim. Mr. Tucson?
The fourth arrest. Last was June 10th, Roswell, for the case you just named. Before that was July 2021, driving without a valid license. 2018, felony obstruction, felony theft by receiving. That's it.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. Currently, there's no bond for position 3, but on position 4, there's a $5,000 surety bond. The state's recommendation is as follows. For position 3, we're recommending a $1,000 surety. For position 4, we're recommending as to count 1, $1,000 surety, and count 2, $500 surety. So that'll total $1,000 surety for position 3 and $1,500 surety for position 4. In addition to the conditions of a stay away from the incident location, Roswell Creek Apartments at 1000 Holcomb Bridge Road, Roswell, Georgia, a social workers visit, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, the defendant trespassed the Roswell Creek Apartments on June 17th, even after being issued a written criminal trespass warning on the June 10th incident. Then again, on June 21st, the defendant trespassed Roswell Creek Apartments again. In that situation, officers were actually called in response to a domestic dispute about a female chasing a male with a knife down the complex. And it turned out to be defendant and her boyfriend who were squatting in a vacant apartment in the Roswell Creek Apartments. And then when the defendant saw the officer, she took off running and refused to stop after being told to do so multiple times. She informed officers, her and her boyfriend admitted to officers that they knew they weren't supposed to be on the property. So in this case, we believe the risk of reoffending in regards to this defendant is high. In the June criminal trespass incident, the open case, Judge Morrow gave the defendant a $2,000 signature. And again, this is the same incident location. And here we are with 2 more cases, 2 more trespasses at this same incident location. So that is why we are recommending the surety bond in this case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant?
Yes.
Ms. Kim, excuse me.
Miss Alexandra, she is 23 years old and she has been here in Georgia for almost all her life. She has one child who is 4 years old and who's suffering from autism. So her son really needs her. She will be probably going back to her parents' place. So that way she does not have to go back to Roswell Creek apartment where she has been homeless. That's why I already made a recommendation to social worker services for this situation. She has a job. She's working at call center at North Point, and she has completed up to 9th grade, and she's currently attending GED classes so she can go back to she can organize her life better. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond, I would like court to consider a diversion center. I learned about it today. There's a place for those people who are homeless or financially indigent, extreme poverty. They have a place they can go and rest instead of going to jail. We would like to request for that special consideration. Otherwise, maximum $500 surety bond, because even that she's not going to be able to pay for it, Your Honor. Thank you.
And we do understand that she's got a open felony case for possession of methamphetamine as well. Am I correct?
I didn't see that part.
That was based on the July 13, 2022 incident. Hence, this was how these outstanding warrants were executed. On the position number 3, criminal trespass from June 17th, bond is going to be set at $1,000. It is a surety bond. Next court date is July 28th. On position number 4, the criminal trespass is going to be $1,000 surety bond and the obstruction's $500. That's a total of a $1,500 surety bond. The total bond is going to be set at $2,500 for both cases. It is a surety bond to stay 200 yards away from the entire complex known as the Roswell Creek Apartments on Holcomb Bridge Road. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And also we're going to reset her third case, which is 22 CR 003697G. That case will also be reset to July 28th. SAP calendar. I don't think it's been reset. Oh, she had a signature bond. So we're just going to go ahead and put all 3 cases on the SAP calendar on July 28th. Yes, Ms. Relia?
I just have a quick question.
Miss Relia, please, I would like to recommend you to stay silent. You have every right to remain silent.
Do you have a question about your bond?
Yes,
All right, what's the question about the bond?
I can't signature self out myself.
Repeat?
I can't signature self out myself.
You don't qualify for a signature bond. You've had repeated offenses and arrests within a short time period. You pose a very high likelihood to reoffend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Next, we got position number 1, Mr. John Archie Bell.
John Bell, middle initial A, is case number 22 CR 004517C. The charges are public drunk, criminal trespass, and violations of certain rules at a bus, rail, or station. Mr. Bell has also got a prior open case, 20 CR 001631C. In the current case, the alleged incident occurred on July 12th, 2022. Mr. Bell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Kent. Any priors, please?
Let me know when to stop. 52 total. Last
What's the last conviction for trespass?
I don't know. The last 2 arrests was at Marta. I know that. The last conviction I see is 2016, 2 counts of simple assault. The terroristic threats, but that case was dismissed. But the last arrest was 2020 for ag assault and trespass. That was on Marta.
All right.
I think that may have been DeKalb County too.
All right.
And the arrest before that was February 2020, simple battery in a public transit vehicle or station.
Noted. Thank you. Mr. Segura?
The state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond, $1,000 for the public drunk, $1,000 for the criminal trespass, and $500 for the assault acts on a bus, rail, and station, with the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and to stay away from all MARTA stations. Recommendations, as you know, occurred 2 days ago, July the 12th, 2022, in which also responded to a call from the 5 Points MARTA station, in which the train conductor said that the defendant was being aggressive, combative, and harassing patrons on the train, and also saw and made contact with the defendant. He smelled of alcohol, was extremely intoxicated, became aggressive and belligerent to officers while they escorted him off the train. And based on his record, they noticed that he has a MARTA suspension until July the 16th, 2022. This is against these facts, but you also have concerns that he is a risk of reoffending. As the Honor stated, he does have an open case from February the 22nd, 2020, at 20 C on 001631C, in which he was charged with being a public drunk and a simple battery in a public transit and disorderly conduct, in which he drew reveal some alcohol at the windshield of the bus. He also punched the bus operator, and it was the mortar on 2424 Piedmont Road, Northeast Atlanta. And I believe in this case, the Honor gave him a 1500 SOB, but the defendant had an FTA for this case on February 10th, 2021 for plea and arraignment. He also had FTA on April the 1st, 2021 and FTA in that case from April the 28th of 2022. Alongside, we're concerned he is a danger to the community, as even after this February 22nd case, in less than 2 months, he was charged with aggravated assault and criminal trespass in the Malta area. So because of this, we're asking for a surety bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bell is presumed innocent in any open cases, including the arrest that the state just alluded to, April 2020. Mr. Bell is 60 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He does not have any children. He also informs me that he does not have any family members who will be able to assist with bond. He completed high school. He went on to study to be an auto mechanic and HVAC work. He is disabled and has been so for the last 4 years. Your Honor, Mr. Bell disputes the allegations. He informs me that he was in fact suffering from exhaustion and diabetes and was taken to the hospital. He denies being drunk. Your Honor, we are requesting a signature bond on Mr. Bell's behalf. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a low bond, and that would be no more than $1,000 for all offenses. And the breakdown is $250 for public drunk, $500 for criminal trespass, and $250 for certain acts prohibited. And we are unopposed to any stay away conditions if there's an active suspension. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. On the public drunk is 500, criminal trespass is 1,000, and violations of the certain rules regarding conduct with the MARTA staff is 1,000. Total bond is 2,500. It is a surety bond. To stay away from all MARTA property, not just the one at 5 Points, all MARTA property until further order of the court. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next court date is July 28th, and we will address both the this particular case as well as the case that was previously addressed by Judge Dixon, 20 CR 001-631C. Who do we have, please?
Position number 2, Mr. Cheslock, Connor Cheslock.
All right. Mr. Connor Cheslock is case number 22 CR 004-518E. Mr. Cheslock, this is regarding a traffic incident from July 13, 2022, in which you have now been charged with DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol per se, driving with an improper or erratic lane change, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
No.
First arrest?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Segura?
The state's recommendation is a $9,000 split bond, $4,000 surety on a DUI, a $1,000 surety for driving on erratic lane change, and a $4,000 signature bond on a DUI less safe, with the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no driving. As Your Honor knows, this case occurred yesterday, July the 13th, at the State Bridge Road and Valet Court, Johns Creek, which also resulted the defendant failing to maintain lane at the incident location, in which they saw the defendant drift to the right of the road twice, passing the white lines. And police made contact with the defendant. They noticed that he had bloodshot eyes and smelled alcohol. And when they had an examination on him, they noticed that he showed signs of impairment. And when they had a chemical test on his breath, it showed a level of 0.08 grams. The state's main concern is that it could be a danger to the community and a flag risk, as this occurred only on July 17th, but it was a night at 1:55 a.m. So he was not only a danger to himself, but to those around him. And considering it was night and he was also drunk, he could have been severe injuries to both himself and to those around him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Connor Cheslock is 25 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 2 years. He completed high school. He also has some college credits in English. He dropped out to pursue a career in songwriting. He is currently employed at Sports and Social. He has been in that position for 1 year. Today, we are denying the allegations. We did not hear of any prior arrest or convictions for Mr. Cheslock. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond on his behalf. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I am unopposed to the signature bond for the DUI less safe and would ask for a bond of no more than 1,000 for the DUI, that DUI, and of course, for the driving improper lane change, a bond of no more than $500 for a total of $5,500 split. Thank you, Your Honor. And we are opposed to the no driving condition. We believe that matter will be resolved when he has his administrative hearing.
All right. On the DUI per se, it's going to be $1,000 surety. On the erratic lane change is going to be $1,000 signature bond for pretrial. And on the DUI less safe is $1,000 signature bond for pretrial. Total bond is a $3,000 split bond. He would have to pay on just on one of the counts, $1,000 surety bond. He'll report to pretrial once a month. It's no illegal drugs and no alcohol consumption. He will be subject to random screens by pretrial. And his next court date will be July 28th. If he makes bond, then his next court date will be sent to him at his current address. And the address we have presently is at Caswick Trace. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Okay.
Hey,
I'm sorry, someone saying something?
don't do that now.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
You good. Your Honor, can we go back to position number 10, please?
10, okay.
Stevens?
That was Mr. Stevens. Mhm. All right, we are resuming with Mr. Stevens and Ms. McLeod. You've had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Stevens.
I have, Your Honor.
All right, and do you have a bond recommendation? I think Ms. Mitchell was recommending 3,500, if I'm not mistaken.
6,000. He
6,000.
had 3,500 in his other open case.
Other one, sorry about that. Okay. Yes.
Is that a total of 6,000?
Yes, no, 6,000 for the current charge, and he had a 3,500 in his prior battery case.
So we're talking about 9,500?
Yes. Mhm.
My client's not in a position to pay that bond, Your Honor. He has been locked up since the 4th of July. He's been in jail since then. So he doesn't have anyone to help him with bond. He has expressed to me that he wants to handle all of these charges, if at all possible. He wants to work something out because he is in a program already in Richmond County, which is where he is from originally, Your Honor. He's in a program there, which is a 2-year program. And he wants to get back into that. So he really wants to put these 2 cases that he has here in Fulton County behind him.
All right, thank you.
So
Anything
maybe
else?
what he really needs is a speedy trial, Your Honor, and I'm just going to go ahead and file that on his behalf.
Okay, that sounds good. Ms. Sherry Jones, you are on the Zoom. Did you want to be addressed? Ms. Cherry Jones. Sounding up for Ms. Cherry Jones again. All right.
Yeah.
Ms. Cherry Jones, this is Judge Lal. Did you want to address the court with regards to Renardo Stevens? So do you have, you don't have to say anything if you don't choose to do so.
No.
All right, thank you. Please mute your screen. On the battery family violence from May 24th, bond is going to be set at 3,500. And that's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Ms. Cherry Jones. And that means no calls from the jail, no communication in person, no solicitation of Ms. Jones through a third party, no contact of Ms. Jones through in person or through any kind of cell phone or computer device. You cannot even try to reach her through social media. You have to stay away from any location. I guess that was I cannot remember the address, but you're not to return to the home where Ms. Jones occupies. And your next court date is going to be July 19th. We're going to address this new case as well as the prior case 22 CR 004-303J. So Ms. McLeod, both cases will be addressed before Judge Morrow on July 19th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we're done here in courtroom 2. May we be excused?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to South Annex. Who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We have before you Ms. Lynch, position 7.
Okay, thank you. We're addressing both the cases remaining on the calendar at the South Annex. My name is Judge Lal, and these are open pending criminal misdemeanor cases against the both of you. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and with regards to both cases, your attorney will be Ms. Maureen McLeod. So Ms. Lynch is position 7, Zanisha Lynch, accused of battery, domestic violence from May 28, 2022. Ms. Lynch, as I've advised you, your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Mr. Tucson, any prior?
Second arrest. Last was 2009 shoplifting.
All right.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Mr. Segura?
The state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond with the conditions of a one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, no further contact with Quentin Lee, Quentin spelled Quinton, Lee spelled Lee, and third-party transfer of any children. As Your Honor knows, this occurred on May the 28th, in which police have met with Mr. Quentin Lee, in which he stated that he agreed to meet the mother of his child at a nail salon located at 300 Polk Avenue, Southeast Atlanta. In this case, he was a little late, which caused the defendant to not make it on time for her appointment at the nail salon. She became upset, and at that point, she asked Mr. Lee to ride home, in which he said no. In the process, when Lee was trying to get his son into the vehicle, the defendant pepper sprayed him in the face, and then she pepper sprayed him a second time behind his neck, to the point where medical emergency sources need to treat Mr. Lee for burning. Because of this, we are concerned by the safety of Mr. Lee, as not only was this an act against the father of a jailed child that was conducted in a public area where anyone could see, and this is called pepper spray. So based on these facts, we're asking for a surety bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 31 years old. She is a native of Atlanta. She tells me that she currently takes care of a 3-year-old son, who's her only child. She has some college education. She works as a massage therapist, and she also takes care of her child. She does have some college education, and she tells me she also has a CDL license. She denies that the altercation between herself and the father of her child went as stated by the prosecution. She said they had an argument over the phone before their child was exchanged. And when he arrived for the exchange, he got a little aggressive with her and she felt threatened and she pepper sprayed him. This incident happened a few months ago, Your Honor. Since then, they have been interacting and exchanging their child as recently as the 12th of July without incident. I would ask the court, given our history and the facts and circumstances of the incident alleged, to give her a signature bond so she can get out of jail, get on with her life and take care of her son. It seems to me that the alleged victim certainly is not afraid of her, since he's been in contact and communication and interaction with her since this incident took place, and they have continued to co-parent their son without incident.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Ms. Lynch is to have no further violent contact with Quentin Lee. She's not to possess any weapons, including pepper sprays or a firearm or anything that's deemed to be a weapon, even if used in a defensive mode. She is to undertake a 6-month domestic violence intervention program, and she must enroll in that program within 30 days of being released. She will report to pretrial every month, and she will confirm with pretrial that she's enrolled in the domestic violence intervention classes, and those classes will have to be done at her expense. Next court date will be sent to her at her current address, and the address that we have on file is the Mount Zion Road, apartment 51. Is that correct? Okay. I'll allow for third-party transfer of the child or if they're cohabitating. But like I said, Miss Lynch is not permitted to have any weapons or any firearms. We'll see her in court when we give her a court date. Thank you.
Thank you, Rana.
All right, we have State versus Taquisha Monique Smith. Case number 22 CR 004-525G. Ms. Smith was accused of simple battery from January 12, 2022. Ms. Smith, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
7 total. Last arrest was June 30th. Criminal damage to property. Simple battery. That's open out of Clayton. On probation and called for burglary. October 2017, they gave us 6 months to serve, and then 4 years, 6 months probation. So it should time out in October. 2022 probation violation. 2021 obstruction, terrorist threats out of Clayton County. 2020 probation violation. That's all.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, there's a current bond of $5,000 surety, and the state's going to request that that bond be reduced to a $2,500 surety with a no further contact with the victim, Mr. Chastin, spelled Chastin, Sims, spelled Simms. A stay away from the incident location 530 East Paces Ferry Road, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, which we believe is Mr. Sims' residence. A 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, earlier this year in January, the defendant battered Mr. Sims by striking him once in the face and then several times on the body. The defendant also threw some slippers at him and left a small scratch behind his ear. In the warrant, it states that the defendant and the victim have only known each other a week, but our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Sims, and he stated that they've known each other, well, at the time that they were dating for a few weeks. He also stated after this incident occurred that the defendant came to his home again with 2 unknown males and attacked him about her belongings that were left at his home. The defendant also keeps texting and messaging him on social media and keeps coming to his home. So she may need a one-time law enforcement escort if her belongings are there. That wasn't really clear, but I believe he did state that he was going to be on Zoom. So when I finish, if Your Honor would like to sound for him. As far as the open simple battery case out of Clayton County, that was June 30th of this year. The defendant was given a $7,000 surety bond, $5,000 to the damage to property, and then $2,000 to the simple battery. This was a different victim, but in this case, the defendant, it was another male that she struck, battered, and damaged his vehicle, I believe, by keying or scratching the vehicle up. And I was informed that that would be a transfer based on the damage done to that victim's vehicle. So based on her history, she's now has 2 simple battery cases in 1 year within a 6-month period. Based on that and what we've heard from Mr. Sims, we are recommending the $2,500 surety bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 25 years old. She has high school education and she is currently in college studying to be a registered nurse. She tells me she will graduate in December of this year. Your Honor, I acknowledge that there is some history here, but the incident that this particular incident occurred in January of this year, almost 7 months ago. She did tell me that they lived together very briefly. It was a rather brief relationship, but the issue was that she had some stuff at his home that she wanted to get, and he would not allow her to get her stuff, Your Honor. The stuff still remains at his home, and my client would like a one-time police escort back to the location so she can retrieve her belongings. If the court is not inclined to give her a signature bond, which I would ask for given how long ago this incident occurred, then I would ask the court to consider giving her as low a bond as possible. She is gainfully employed, Your Honor, but she's also a student, so her income is not very high. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. McLeod. Bond is set at $1,500. It is a surety bond. To have no further contact with Chastin Sims, stay 200 yards away from 530 East Pacers Ferry Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Sims, I'm not going to permit her to return to the location. If Mr. Sims was present or a victim advocate wants to relay the information, he can pack up the stuff that belongs to Ms. Smith, and it can be either deposited to Ms. Smith's address. I have 2766 Deerwood Drive in Southwest Atlanta, or she can make arrangements with a third party for the items to be picked up from a nearby police station.
Your Honor, my victim advocate just messaged me and stated that there are none of her belongings at his residence.
No belongings?
Correct.
All right. So in that case, then he's not obligated to return anything. If Ms. Smith believes that Mr. Sims is in possession of any of her properties, she can file the appropriate civil action once the no further contact order is lifted. All right. Her next court date is going to be July 28th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, that concludes my business for the day. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod, I was just going over the calendar. Thank you, Deputy Milton.
Oh, that would be fine. I'll wait for that. I didn't know we were finished.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Okay, position 1, Bell was a surety bond. I believe it's 2,500 surety bond, reset date July 28th. Position number 2, Cheslock is a $3,000 split bond. Reset date is July 28th. Unless he bonds out, then it'll be further notice. Ms. Rollier is first 2 cases, $1,000 on position 3 and $1,500 on position 4, and that's a 2,500 total surety bond. Reset date July 28th, including her third case, 22 CR 003697G. Position 5, Hardy is $1,000 signature bond through pretrial services for the notice. Position 6 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date July 28th, along with the companion case 22 CR 004046C. Position 7, Lynch is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services for the notice. Position 8 is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date July 28th. Position 9, Smith is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date July 28th. Position 10 is a $3,500 surety bond, reset date July 19th, 2022, along with this other companion case. And position 11, Winfrey, is a $2,500 surety bond, reset date July 28th. Any questions?
Don't forget 5 is per judge.
Oh, yes, 5, Ms. Lewis, that will be a per judge thing. Okay. All right, folks, I will see y'all, I think, very soon. But other than that, have a great Thursday. And
Thank you.
I will address all the bond orders as soon as they're sent to me. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.